Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to actually be doing something a little bit different. It's Thanksgiving! If you live in the United States, we're thankful for things. And there's a lot of things to be thankful for. Sometimes you just got to do a little bit of looking for it. But you can always find something that's going well and work on that something, make it get even better, and then life improves. It does. It does. Sometimes it takes some work. But today we're actually talking about a few different social deduction games, okay? And I want to introduce you to maybe some social deduction games you haven't seen before. This is not going to be your standard gameplay. You're not going to really see me talking like normal gameplay stuff. But I think there's probably a lot of good social deduction games online that you don't know about yet. There's a lot that I haven't played yet, but I'm going to bring you 7 social deduction games that you should be thankful for this season and all seasons. Just some of which you're definitely familiar with. So, of course, we have Town of Salem, based off of kind of the old school Mafia playstyle game. It's a little bit more complicated than it used to be. So if you guys don't know, social deduction is a long-standing kind of tradition, but it was typically way back in the day. It was card games and it was party games, played in person rather than played online. Recently, that's become a bigger online scene, and Town of Salem is probably obviously the dominant one, currently at least in this period of time. Town of Salem, if you're not familiar with it, I don't know what you're doing here on this channel. This is what we're known for. But it is a really good game. It's one of my favorite games of all times. I get a little bit tired of it. I feel like right now, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I feel right now Town of Salem's in a bit of a bad balance state. Nobody really enjoys playing Evil. I can't say nobody, but most people don't enjoy playing Evil, and people aren't properly punished for leaving the game repeatedly. So between those two things, I can see why some people have moved away from Town of Salem. I suggest to you that if you're having a hard time playing Town of Salem and enjoying it, breathe a little bit, maybe get some scrolls going so you can play some of the roles you really enjoy, and try to just take yourself a little bit less seriously and understand that at the end of the game, it's a game, and the goal, in my opinion, of Town of Salem should be learning how to read people, learning how to scum read, and learning how to create a different image of yourself in the minds of others. It's a fun exercise, and it's the reason why social deduction exists. It's not about using your role to find who the suspicious people are. Is using your brain to win the game. So Town of Salem does that very well, and it's been around for a while, and I hope it stays around, and in fact I hope they improve it and get some more rolls out, please and thank you. There's a lot of escort CCs, but we can't have a vote up yet. Like we can't be we need to wait, because if we vote up Vegeta perhaps, or Fake Spy. True. Oh, this could be good. I'm the one who roadblocked Carl. I think the person claiming roadblock poop is Mafia. Next up for us is Throne of Lies. You may have seen this on my channel. You may not. You may have heard about it, but don't know anything about it. There are a lot of Throne of Lies videos on my channel. I'm not the best Throne of Lies player. What can I say about TOL, Throne of Lies? It's a social deduction game. It has a lot of different roles that interact very interestingly with each other. I would say that it's a more complex Town of Salem, but also I say this about it, and this is my biggest drawback. I love the game. I love the roles' uniqueness. It's a good time to play it. However, people in that game, in Throne of Lies, are very serious about the meta, and it takes some getting used to learn the meta. It's one of those games where if you don't play to the meta, they might just kill you, even if you actually just don't know what it is. It's a bit of a bummer when that happens, but if you do put the time and energy into learning this social deduction game, it is very rewarding. It has some of the most rewarding plays I've ever seen in a social deduction game, because literally anything can happen. And there's no one side that immediately just has the winning conditions. It's like, oh, town has retributionists and 2 lookouts. Well, game over. It's not like that with Throne of Lies, basically ever. So it's a very good game. It is on Steam. I think it's a couple bucks, maybe $8, maybe 10. It's something like that. I personally would spend the money 10 times over with how much time I put into this game. I do really enjoy it. I like it very much. The name checks out. Assassin down. Well, alrighty then. So if well, depending on what happens with 6, you might have some indication of if I was targeted last night or not. Mystic's dead. Mystic down. So we had an assassin, which means it's an unseen game. Sheriff, your claim pretender, so I wouldn't get attacked. Guessing 9 was a possession, a jump, I guess. Doesn't necessarily mean that's the case. Third up for our social deduction games you should be thankful for is Mindnight. Mindnight's very popular on the channel. I play a lot of Mindnight, and there's something to be said about the difference between Mindnight and the other 2 previously listed. Mindnight is not about rolls. It's not about using your knight ability to find information and to use that to kind of push your team to victory. Mindnight is all about reading people. That is what social deduction was born on. That's what it's based on. That's the bread and butter of this genre. And if you haven't tried Mindnight, I think you are missing out. It's a very good game to play a little bit more casually. The winning and the losing is all part of learning with Mindnight, and you're going to have plenty of both of those. It is, again, there's a lot of videos on the channel. If you haven't seen it, check them out, because I think that they're some of my best content. Some of my best scum reading, at least, comes from Mindnight and that gameplay. I have so much fun in that game. A lot of other people have started playing with me as well when I'm recording through the Discord, and so we just tend to have a right old fantastic time playing that game. It's a more bare bones social deduction version. A lot of people compare it to the board game The Resistance. It's also been compared to the board game Secret Hitler. Please don't demonetize me. And and so on and so forth. It's a really good social deduction game, and it's free actually. And I think that if you really enjoy it, go ahead and support them on Patreon and something like that, and give them a little bit of cash, and you get some cool little rewards. It's such a great game. The player base isn't super huge, so you might not get in a ton of large games, but there's almost always at least a couple games going at a time. You wait 5 minutes. They tend to be fairly short games when they're 5-player games at least, so you rotate through pretty quickly. I've never had a problem getting games generally, even when I'm not recording with the Discord community. It's a great game, guys. It's a social deduction game that if you haven't checked out, you really need to. Like Tobias said, they were weird accepts, but said it like 20 seconds after the accept, which kind of felt a little weird to me. Next up on the list is Direwolf. So at the time of this recording, Direwolf is not out, and at the time of this posting, Direwolf is not out in full release. It is in early access. It's in a beta right now. And what can I say about Direwolf? It's more based upon the werewolf card game, if you've ever seen One Night Ultimate Werewolf. However, instead of just like a handful of rolls, there's literally hundreds of rolls. It's crazy, and there's apparently more rolls coming, and they are also planning on integrating in certain aspects of the Steam Workshop. I think that I hope what this means is that eventually they'll be allowing you to create your own roles and then test them in roll lists that people get to join based upon seeing your lobby and seeing the cards in the deck that you build, and saying, oh yes, I would like to play with that deck. That deck looks really cool. I'm sure that's a very interesting way of playing this game. There's so much. No 2 games are going to be the same with Direwolf, which is very different obviously than Town of Salem and Throne of Lies, but especially Town of Salem, where a lot of games to me feel like it's like inevitable. Come day 2, it's like, well, this game's over. It's just, are we going to win in 4 days or 5 days? I never feel that way about Direwolf. Direwolf is always just up in the air, chaos, randomness. It's insanity, and I love it. You can still get some good scum reading, but it is a role-based game. Unlike, say, Mindnight, which is all scum reading, Direwolf does have quite a bit of role-based information that does go on in there as well. I don't even know what the meta is here.
I don't even know if there is one.
Like, do you claim your role? Do you not claim your role? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure on this one.
Yeah, I think villagers have been claiming A1, and then that was it.
Yeah, but everybody's like a somewhat important role, but there's so much information that that can be gained at night. I'm not sure. This is interesting.
I can't even imagine if the clone is a jester. Imagine 2 jesters.
Hey! Wait! Hey! Hey!
That's a jester play.
All right, the next three are going to be social deduction games that you may not even know really are basically social deduction games. They're kind of like mixtures of games, and that makes them a little bit harder to read. And again, I do want to specify, guys, that there are other social deduction games out there. And if you know some that you love, please post them in the comments section so that I can maybe check them out and add them to my next list of good social deduction games. But this is what I like to do. These are the games I really enjoy playing, and I really enjoy playing with you guys. So I want to give you guys as much information on this stuff as I can while getting through at a pretty reasonable rate. So next up, the fifth on our list is actually Trouble in Terrorist Town. Would you think that is a social deduction game? It is, okay? When you're playing it properly, which isn't just RDMing constantly in every single game you're going on, if you're playing especially with a group of friends and RDM is not really allowed, or at least is frowned upon severely and stuff like that, you end up actually having a lot of social deducting going on. And if you've seen some of the videos on my channel where we play TTT with some of our members of the community, you get to know what people are like. You get to learn that it's like, wait a second, that's your lying voice. It's like, you don't know my lying voice. It's like, you're darn right I do. Because that's what social deduction games are all about. It's all about figuring out your opponent using like certain mental, sometimes subconscious clues in order to kind of pinpoint you to what might be going on. Between that and using, now there's no real roles, so to say, in TTT, but there is gunplay and shooting and stuff like that, which is why it doesn't really fit solidly under the standard social deduction genre, so to say. But really, if you're playing it properly, if you're playing it right, there is a lot of deducing that's going on. And it's not every game is not going to have a lot of scum reading. Some games are just going to be firefights, which is actually fun, though, sometimes, just to have the whole darn map open up on you. But really, it is, at the core, a game that's all about using what you can have, process of elimination, social cues, in order to figure out who the traitors are and taking them out before they can take you out. Very fun game. In addition to being a social deduction game that's a little bit off the normal path, it is a very fun game. Lots of videos on the channel. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm pretty sure you probably have and know what TTT is, but you may have ever thought of it, when played properly at least, as being an actual social deduction game. So there you have it.
What is going on in there? I'm gonna stay out here. I feel safer out here than in there, to be honest.
I can't shut the door. We're trying to shut.
Go away, Ashley. Go away.
Oh, nicely done, Nate. Nicely done. Yuna, I'm so sorry. I can't get a read on you anymore.
I murdered Yuna! Brutally murdered her in front of Finton, and you're like, it's Yuna! I'm like, yes. Yes, it's Yuna.
It's sure Yuna, isn't it?
Well, I had a scum read on Yuna, and then I didn't see Yuna anymore. And then I figured that the detective was dead.
I love the bat so much.
I mean...
Next up on the list, sixth for us today in our 7 social deduction games you should be thankful for, is Deceit. Deceit is another one of those kind of mixed bags kind of social deduction games, but it's I would argue that it's far more about scum reading than TTT is. And there's a lot more depth to Deceit than there is Trouble in Terrorist Town. The reason why that is the case is that it's not often just total mayhem in Deceit. It's normally a little bit of blood drinking, a little bit of murder, some people reviving people, and you can play that any way you want. You can really get creative and still win with either side in Deceit, whereas in TTT, generally it's like there's a little bit of social deduction, a couple people die, and by the time the last 2 or 3 people are alive, it's a firefight. This, sometimes, to the very end, is all about social deduction. And there are some really massively cool plays you can make in that same realm during a good Deceit game with a good group of people. Voice chat for Deceit is basically necessary. I think it is for TTT as well. It is not for Direwolf, Mindnight, TOL, or TOS. But it is necessary for those two, and maybe even this last one that I'll get to just in a second. But Deceit, highly recommend. It is free, actually, on Steam, although there are some DLCs that you can purchase, and they're a good time. I should also mention that Direwolf is not free, or won't be free. I don't know if it is currently still giving out codes or keys or anything like that, but Direwolf will have a cost to it. But honestly, think about it this way. How much do you pay to go to the movies? You pay $14 to go see a movie. You're there for 3 hours. and if you don't get popcorn, that's all the money you're spending. You get 3 hours of entertainment. You spend $8 on Direwolf. You play it for 10 hours. That's a good deal, guys. That's a good... Anyway, not the point. We don't want to go back in time. We're going forward in time. Deceit's really good. It's free to play. It is actually fairly populated, so I think you have a good chance of getting into games consistently. But if you really want to make the most out of Deceit, get a group of friends together, especially a group of friends that will love you even if you piss them off a little bit, because that does happen in Deceit. It's a great time. It's always fun. Lots of videos on the channel if you want to check that out as well. Yeah, Leader, can Silent place the fuse in? Is that okay, Leader?
Yes.
Yes,
If you
all
have
right.
a fuse, place it.
I am defending the Leader with my body. Get away! Get away! I swear! Nobody will touch Leader. I said nobody! Not even you! All right, Leader.
Everyone go to the exit.
Finally, number 7, our social deduction games that you should be thankful for is Murderous Pursuit. So Murderous Pursuit's kind of similar to the Ship, which I would also say is a social deduction game, but I think Murderous Pursuits is a little bit cleaner right now. It's a little bit cleaner. It's goofy. It's simple. It's still enough varied that there is a pretty cool result at the end of the game each time. There's a little bit of RNG and luck based, but there's a lot of skill. It's a little bit less social deduction-y than the other ones on this list, in my opinion, because instead of looking for finding the one evil person or the 2 evil people out of 7, anybody could be coming to kill you, and you have to use your ability to identify a real person from AI in order to keep yourself alive and to destroy and murder your targets. Earn points, of course, for killing your targets, which is a general game mechanic, I suppose. But Murderous Pursuits, I do call it a social deduction game because you are using a lot of social cues, especially if you're on VC. Sometimes you're using even how people are talking and how people are moving in the game collectively to kind of pinpoint. I think that is my friend who's trying to come and murder me. And then you use a little bit of your own ability to mimic AAI, or NAI, I suppose, in order to trick them into coming into range of you so you can stun them or kill them yourself, something like that. It's a lot of fun. It's a really good game. It's a goofy, casual game that I think is just barely in that social deduction zone, but I do think it is.
Just go back upwards the stairs and then zoom back down again. It was really quick.
Nope. Sussed that one out.
Niet.
Yeah, I did it again, Skim. I really need to not do that. Too quick with my clicks.
Boom.
What?
2 people.
I thought it was.
Ah! No! No! Get away from me, Hunter! Get away from me!
Hat, damn it! I just walked. Ah.
Again, there are a lot of other games, ladies and gentlemen, that are social deduction based, that are online, and if you've got good ones for me, please do share them in the comments section. I want to know all about them. I want them to maybe be part of this channel. If they're good and entertaining and people enjoy watching them, then why not? The more the merrier, I say. I really do think that I do wish that there was more social deduction games that were popular in this genre. So here's what you can do for it, you know? If you like some of these games that you play, get your friends playing them. Because that's what social deduction's all about. It's all about getting a group of people together to hang out with you and play some games. If you ever played card games like Secret Hitler or The Resistance or Coup, there's a lot of good games like that that are really quick, easy games. People know them and people love them. That's why they've been around for decades. Get your friends to check it out. Show them one of the videos first if you need to. They'll fall in love, and then you guys can play games together. Social deduction. It's pretty awesome. 7 social deduction games you should be thankful for. Happy Thanksgiving to you if you celebrate. If you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, then happy day to you. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your evening, and peace out. Much love, guys.
Yes.